Hello, my name is METİN ARIDAŞIR. This is 63rd part of explanation of my theory. One-man caravan is going on at its route in the desert. Electron's wavelength is 91.155 nanometer. The electron's initial wavelength is 91.155 nanometer for all atoms, according to my theory and my formulas. 1. When I computed the photon's rest mass, remember, these are my formulas, and from my former videos, remember, here at rest photon mass 2.42 point, and another. Yes. Here, mass formula. My mass formula. Point mass. Think about a sphere, spherical electron motion from first cycle. Any point, it is at rest but cycling in motion. Motion form, don't forget this. At any point. Point mass, waypoint, point energy, point wavelength, point wave velocity, remember, and point mass of an electron motion form is in the same time. Photon's mass. For first cycle at rest electron, for first cycle as a sphere, okay, approximately sphere, point, at any point its surface, it is not in motion, it is at rest but cycling, but first cycle, okay, free, and that point, any point, is, say, a photon, and that point's energy is photon energy, that point's mass is photon's mass, that point's momentum is photon's momentum. But that point, is that point photon's wavelength? No. Electron motion forms successive waves wavelength. Okay. I don't want to confuse your mind now. Yes, 1. When I computed the photon's rest mass, I didn't choose the 91.155 nanometer wavelength of the electron arbitrarily. I will explain next. According to my theory and my formulas, for all known atoms, all bounded electrons with their protons have the same normal initial when they are free wavelength. Lambda n or lambda ei is equal to, yes, lambda n equal to nanometer, first cycle. Here. This is lambda n for all cycles at rest electron motion form. Again, when I computed the photon's rest mass, I didn't choose the 91.1 155 nanometer wavelength of the electron arbitrarily. I will explain next. According to my theory and my formulas, for all known atoms, all bounded electrons with their protons have the same normal initial when they are free wavelength lambda n, lambda EI is equal to 91.155 nanometer. Don't forget this. Lambda n equal to 91.155 nanometer. For all electrons in all atoms, but when they are free. Inside of atoms, their wavelengths under the some effects that I will explain, under the sum effects shrinks at certain rates. I have another formulas that I have put forth. One of that I have told you in my formula videos, but I will explain next. Yes. 2. But there are different size electrons in our universes, and there may be different size proton-electron bounding parts of it. But there are different size electrons in our universes, and there may be different size proton-electron bounding parts of it. Eventually, I am talking about wavelength. Radius is 91.155 nanometer size electrons, and the protons that the convenient size for making joint motions, bounding with these electrons. 3. Now, this is important. About computation of COMPTON wavelength. If you assume that the electron has 9.11 10 to the minus 31 kilogram, to find kilogram mass, if you assume that the electron has 9.11 10 to the minus 31 kilogram mass, to find the unknown wavelength that will be named COMPTON wavelength. This wavelength had defined for photon in the context of an at rest electron's rest energy, and they computed, this is the result, 0.002424 etc. nanometer. If you assume that the electron has 9.11 10 to the minus 31 kilogram mass, to find the unknown wavelength that will be named COMPTON wavelength, this wavelength had defined for photon in the context of an at rest electron's rest energy. This is the result, 0.00242463 nanometer. Yes. What if I assume the electron motion forms wavelength is 91.155 nanometer? In the context of my formulas here, okay, remember here, and this is my computation here, rest for rest mass, at rest photon mass computation according to my formulas and my theory here. I hope you see. Yes. And here. And finally here. Okay. Yes. Upside. According to my theory, according to accepted physics theory, look at similarity, figure similarity, not same. Okay, interesting. Yes. What if I assume the electron motion form's wavelength is 91.155 nanometer? Here. In the context of my formula, the point mass, touching mass of at rest 91.115 nanometer radius size electron is 2.42 3004 10 to the minus 35 kilogram mass. In the same time, this is the at rest photon's mass for 91.155 nanometer size electron motion 4. Here, in the same time, this mass is at rest photons mass for 91.155 nanometer size electron motion 4. Radius wavelength 91.155 nanometer wavelength size. Okay. Here you can compare. I am asking now, who knows one of these two unknown? Certainly. Who knows electrons' certain mass, directly measured mass is 9.11 10 to the minus 31 kilogram. No one measured directly. Charge mass ratio, remember. And indirectly or indirectly measuring, assuming. Okay. I have assumed lambda is equal to 91.155 nanometer. Accepted physics assumed electrons mass 9.109 10 to the minus 31 kilogram, and they guessed, they found, say, Compton wavelength. But I found photon, at rest photon mass. Yes. Have a good afternoon. See you later.